Hey there folks, and welcome to this video. I have already done my top 25 drivers for off-road racing, for Formula racing, and for tin top racing. This is my final one of these top 25 lists before we mash them together and maybe add in a name or two for the top 100 of 2024. And this one is for GTs and prototypes. So yeah, in this list we're going to be looking at the top 25, in my opinion, for GT and prototype in the year 2024. And for me, that includes things that are, well, GT racing, as well as series such as Super GT, and anything that is considered prototype racing, so predominantly IMSA and the World Endurance Championship, though obviously the different offshoots also contribute to that. So without further ado, let's get into it. If you want to check out the other list, you can do that in the description section down below. And let's start off with 25th place. In 25th place is Daniel Serra. The headline for Serra was being part of the winning team in the European Le Mans Series GT3 class. However, he also helped out Ferrari's outfits in GT3 and IMSA. He won the Daytona 24 with Ricci Competizione, with second place in the Sebring 12 Hours and Petit Le Mans on top of that. He also won the GT3 class with Conquest Racing at Road America to cap that off. In 24th is Renger van der Zande. VDC saw 2 wins in IMSA this season with Cadillac at Long Beach, but also an emphatic win at Petit Le Mans where the lights started to flicker in the final few minutes. In addition to this, the 0-1 was second in Sebring and at the Glen, and third in Detroit. While Serra, apart from his teammates, was a respectable 6th at Mosport in the non-GTP race. In 23rd is René Rast. Rast is one of the jack-of-all-trades drivers on this list, something that happens quite a bit on this specific list. Rast won twice in DTM this season with 2 other podiums. He delivered a good 7th in his 1 IMSA race at the Daytona 24, but his main series was WEC. 2 DNFs in the final 2 races overshadows a decent start to the season, the highlight of which was 6th in the Imola 6 Hours, in a difficult BMW. In 22nd is Kelvin van der Linde. That Van der Linde, who had a mild incident with Liam Lawson at the Norris Ring a few years back, is another one of those jack-of-all-trades GT3 drivers. The high was arguably DTM, second in the series with 3 wins and 3 further podiums. On top of that was a troubled WEC campaign with the Acodis ASP Lexus, but he managed a podium in the Bathurst 12 Hours, which separates him more from the likes of Rast. In 21st is Ricky Collard. Collard made the switch back to GT from BTCC this season, teaming up with his tin top stalwart father in a Barwell GT3 Lamborghini. They won the title by finishing the top 5 at every race, with 2 wins and 3 further podiums to boot. Collard rounded out the season with a couple of respectable bronze starts in the GT World Challenge, also with Barwell. In 20th place is Robert Kubica. Arguably the highest high of the season for Kubica was being part of the winning AF Corsa lineup at COTA in the World Endurance Championship. Le Mans and Fuji were dramatic, arguably his 2 worst results of the season as he picked up a couple of penalties for major incidents. However, Kubica's strongest series was arguably ELMS. He was part of the AOTF lineup, which won the series, with a win at Spa and 3 other podiums in the 6-round season. In 19th is Tommy Milner. Milner is very much a veteran GT driver, most notably for his record with Corvettes. This year he finished 8th in GTD Pro with Nicky Katzberg, with podiums at Motorsport and Laguna Seca the highlights. However, the arguable standout was second in GT World Challenge America, where he and co-driver Alec Liddell were second in the standings. That doesn't sound like much, but they missed the first 4 races and won 7 of the 9 they took part in, with the other 2 finishes being a 2nd and a 5th, in the season ending in title deciding Indianapolis 8 Hours. Given they were in a shout at the title of Indy, that's a great season. In 18th is Kenta Yamashita. Yamashita was one half the pairing with Sho Suboi that nearly swept up the Super GT series this year in the top GT500 class. 3 wins on the season were topped off by a competitive run for Toyota and Super Formula, though we're not really going into that one in this list. This will come up more in the final combined list. And then 17th is Sho Suboi. It was the other half of that pairing and arguably the more impressive of the 2 Toyota stable drivers. He doubled up the Super GT with a Super Formula crown. That hasn't really factored into this list. It's impressive enough to see Sho Suboi on 2 lists, which is arguably why he's deserving of being just above his teammate on here. In 16th is Philip Ellis. Winner in GTD with Winwood Racing at IMSA. Ellis' top performance is arguably part of the winning team of the Daytona 24 Hours, 12 Hours of Sebring, 6 Hours of Glen, and the Laguna Seca round of IMSA. He also got podiums at Motorsport and VAR. However, Ellis was also third in Pro-Am with Jeff Burton in the GT World Challenge America Series and helped Mercedes in various GT championships the world over to respectable results in 2024. In 15th is Louis Delatraz. Delatraz started 2024 by seeing a lead in the Asian Le Mans Series evaporate, but it was better luck elsewhere this year. Not only was Delatraz part of the ELMS winning squad alongside Robert Kubica, he also ran with Wen Taylor Racing at IMSA. Whilst Kubica won with AF Corsa at COTA, Delatraz's other win was a lot more high profile at the Sebring 12 Hours. In 14th is Matt Campbell. Campbell was another here, there and everywhere driver this season. He won Daytona in January with Penske. He won Bathurst alongside Kevin Estre as part of the Manthe setup in February. He got 4 podiums in WEC and a further 2 podiums in IMSA, Petit Le Mans and the Sebring 12 Hours. Matt Campbell was once again a dependable and reliable driver for Porsche. Whilst he did have as many peaks as some of his teammates, he did the jobs he needed to at the sharpest ends of the tightest fields. In 13th is Augusto Farfus. Farfus is one of those drivers that has always hovered between touring cars and GT racing. His stint in DTM best exemplified this for the everlong BMW driver. The peaks of this season were in WEC, with a class win at Imola and second at Le Mans. The troughs this season were in IMSA, with a season high of 4 for Petit Le Mans as the BMW still struggled to catch up with his GTP counterparts. In 12th is Mirko Bortolotti. Bortolotti had a bit of a what could have been season. It's best exemplified by the fact that he won DTM in a very competitive field, but at the same time suffered from what was the Lamborghini LMD8 program in WEC. You can already tell this difference when you look at his IMSA results, where he won Petit Le Mans in the GTD Lamborghini and was third in the Sebring 12 Hours. And in 11th is Andre Lotterer. Lotterer had a lot to prove this season. In what would go on to be his final season with Porsche, after being dropped from their Formula E outfit, he had to go out and prove why he was a double Le Mans winner with Audi in their heyday. He did that by being part of the Drivers' Championship winning team in WEC. That's earned him a role with Hyundai to build up their Genesis program next year. However, unlike his teammates who doubled up that success with successes elsewhere and often together, Lotterer's sole focus on WEC is why the veteran of the sports car racing is down here just outside the top 10. In 10th place, and in 9th place for that matter, are Felipe Nasr and Dane Cameron. Much like with Andre Lotterer, Cameron and Nasr were Porsche drivers whose programs were largely limited to one series in 2024. That series was IMSA, which was one in which Porsche Penske won, albeit in a more convincing fashion than the World Endurance Championship. They were part of 2 Penske wins this season, first at the Grand D Daytona 24, the other at the 6 Hours of the Glen. However, there was only one race where the car wasn't in the top 4 all season, and only 2 cases where they were off the podium. In 8th place is Niklas Nielsen, and I know how it looks, putting Nielsen up above Lotterer and Cameron and Nasr. It looks like I'm rewarding the Le Mans 24 win over Daytona, WEC or IMSA. That my big name European brain thinks I'm rewarding this guy just for that. But that's not true. Nielsen was part of the AF Corsa outfit that finished second in WEC. He also did his duty of helping out elsewhere when needed, including a class win in ELMS and a couple of dependable performances in IMSA. In 7th is Charles Wirtz. The IGTC champion was a reliable hand in anything the BMW needed him for. He helped WRT to second in GT World Challenge Europe Sprint Cup, although that arguably isn't as impressive as the 3 titles they share together there. He also helped up an Endurance Cup, with the highlights being podiums at Spa 24 and Monza later on in the season. Wirtz was consistently at the front, but also collected individual accolades. That's exactly what we're looking for a driver on this list. And in 6th place is Antonio Fuoco. Fuoco is very similar to his teammate Niklas Nielsen, a Le Mans winner, runner-up in WEC, and helped out when needed. His elsewheres included second in GTD at the Sebring 12 Hours, and a very competitive run at Macau at the end of the season, with a daring move that could have been for the win had he not been on the receiving end of an unwelcome tap into Lisboa on a final lap. Opening up the top 5, and in 5th place we have Dries Vanthoor. It's still very much seen that Dries is the better Vanthoor, and I'm sure any motorsport memer will point out in my comments after this video. But at least this year, the scoreboard doesn't reflect that. Perhaps the main reason why that's the case is because of the cars that the brothers Vanthoor drove this year. Dries was competitive in the BMWs, getting second in the Intercontinental GT Challenge and second in the GT World Challenge Europe Sprint Cup alongside Charles Wirtz. But the WEC program wasn't there all the same, and nor was his IMSA appearance. In the season highlighted by a win at the Spa 24 Hours, Vanthoor was quick, but didn't have the perfect recipe to reach the same heights all of the time. In 4th place is Alessandro Pier Guidi. A couple of years ago, you could make the case of Pier Guidi to be at the top of this list. It seemed like the guy was winning everything in GTs, and this didn't change much with the jump to the Ferrari hypercar program. In fact, the major blemish on his record there this year wasn't even his fault, as the team accidentally used too many tyres in the Bahrain finale. The absolute highs weren't repeated this year, with only a third at Le Mans, but he opened the season with another GTD win at Daytona, and was runner-up at Spa this year. In 3rd is Kevin Estre. It was often joked that in the Porsche Penske car this season we had a past prime Kevin Estre. However, you could argue he showed up his critics this year. Winning in WEC was great, and following up with 2nd in Nürburgring 24 was also good. He also picked up 2nd in Petit Le Mans at the end of the year. With all those accolades come the end of 2024, he was well clear of teammate Lotterer in this list. In 2nd place was Mauro Engel. Engel was well and truly here, there and everywhere in 2024. The highlight was arguably the GT World Challenge Europe Sprint Cup title, with a top 5 finish in every race, as well as 8 podiums and 3 wins from 10 starts. Engel was also 3rd in DTM, with 7 podiums to his name but no wins. He also got 2 podiums in the GT World Challenge Europe Endurance Cup, with a win at the finale in Jeddah. He also got 3rd in the Indy 8 Hours, and won the Macau GT event in dramatic style to help round out the season. And in 1st place is Dries Vanthoor. People joked for years that Lawrence was the wrong Vanthoor, which is ironic, given that he's also got multiple accolades to his name and added multiple more this season. The standout is arguably the WEC title alongside Estre and Lotterer, winning at Qatar and Fuji with 3 other podiums. But Vanthoor also helped Porsche to 4th in Daytona, the same as he got in Le Mans this year. However, he also had multiple GT feats to his name. Best of these being a win at the Bathurst 12 Hours and the Nürburgring 24. Wherever he drove, Vanthoor was generally pretty quick, and that's why he's at the top of this list. And that's that for this video. Thank you so much for watching and joining as always. You can check out the other ones in the description section down below. Make sure to come back in a couple of days if you're watching this when it's first uploaded to see my full top 100 list for the year of 2024. Until next time, it's bye for now.